hunting with a recurve, had the old quivers, hold about 3 arrows in. Got down from my perch there, and I came out, and friends drop us off, and we had one car, so one guy drop us off, and the designated driver and pick us up. So it's getting to be that time. So I get down, I go on. There's a doe on the field, so I'm gonna smoke this doe right on the field, right? So I shoot an arrow, I miss. I shoot things, I don't know, 20, 25 yards. I shoot another arrow, I miss. I missed through all my arrows. I'm out, and the thing's still there feeding, and I'm like, now what do I do, right? So I go over there. It jumps in the woods, and I'm kicking around for my arrows, and all of a sudden I see my buddies pull up, and they're waving at me. And I'm kicking. I can't find any of the arrows. It's under deep grass, and they're waving, and they're looking, and they're pointing back, and I turn around. That damn deer jumped back out at 20 yards behind me while I was looking for my arrows and was feeding again. It was a fawn, so I probably misjudged the the range and stuff, but pretty embarrassing for the guys. They had a good laugh on that. And then that same trip, was hunting on the ground, and I actually shot at a doe that was quartering at me, and I thought I hit her, and the arrow went right between her legs, stuck in a tree behind her, and the fletchings were just sticking there. And never moved. The deer never even moved a bit. So, and then that one finally bolted off and busted that arrow. So it was a hell of a trip, but no venison. And everybody knows how impatient I am in a tree stand. So I was hunting in southern Iowa. Had a huge buck that I was hunting, and I was just so anxious. I was working it back and finding where this thing was bedded, and I was, getting dialed in on this thing. And for some reason, I think that trip, I never actually wore a watch, and I wore the watch or something was kind of upside down or whatever. And I looked at the time, and I thought it was time to get down and go scout. So I broke down, and I had my bow on the ground, and I look up, and on the trail, this thing's 10 yards away, looking me right in the face, and it just bolted off. And I'm like, was so freaking pissed off. Like, man, if I'd have just stayed in my stand, a little longer. And I said, well, I made, a mental note I was getting down at that time. That's how I do it. I put a time in, and then I get down. I looked at my watch again, and I literally got down an hour early. I misread the watch and shit. I'd have killed that thing at, probably a 5-yard shot. So another big blunder. But what's funny though, I wasn't like some young kid back then hunting at that time. I started at 20, so I should have been a little bit more advanced to that. But as we went along, and we got into compounds and got a little better shooting, and with pin sights and all that, we got a little better, and we started harvesting a few deer. So
Okayest Hunter.